Hi guys, hello Dustin.
Hey, Philip.
Hey everybody, it's me Philipp Druzhinin from Moscow, Russia, and Dustin from Buffalo. I finally have it on my tongue, as you say, like repeating something more than 3 times, and you have it on your tongue. Because I was still, believing you were living somewhere in New York, but New York is big, and so Buffalo is one of the cities, right?
Yes, sir.
Although you have a capital of Albany, I believe.
That's right.
Yeah, I've been watching a politician series on Netflix last week. Very interesting. And we're just mentioning a couple of cities there, so whatever. Um, have you guys seen our video on Crow and Crown? If you haven't, just stick around. And for warm up, we're gonna talk about what Dustin wants to show to the people, and probably we should mention radio street patterns that you were wanted to talk about last time, but I was always interrupting you, and so I'll just give you as much time as you want to continue on that topic, and maybe I'll have some to respond, because it's always confused when you talk on some different topic and then somebody is bringing new stuff into the discussion, and you like, if you're a retarded Russian BS propaganda agent, as people called me, accent guy, you probably won't realize what the other part of your conversation is talking about, right?
Yeah, Philip, just don't interrupt me again, okay, bro?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, trolls, whatever. I hear you're passionate, Phil, and it's something I got to work on too. When I have a thought and I want to say something, I get that, that anxiousness and whatever. But we're friends and we're talking and we're throwing back ideas, and we don't always have a outline, so that's going to happen. And you know what? I appreciate the feedback. So keep it moving. To that commenter that said that, it was actually funny. I thought I was interrupting you. You thought you were interrupting me. Hey, it's a conversation, and it is what it is. I don't worry about it. I don't take it seriously, brother. So that said, yeah, I didn't do your homework though. I didn't watch that video.
Yeah, we're gonna do it.
What did you want
immediately after you're done with your stuff.
Well, okay, you kind of put me on the spot here. I guess I should have got a little bit more. Okay, so let's I'll preface. I kind of started watching your video. I got the gist of it. Talking about the red shield, if you will, Rothschilds.
Which one, by the way?
The one that you sent me to watch about with that movie in the beginning. The movie clip with that
Fahrenheit.
that black actor. Yeah, what's his name? What's that actor's name?
I don't know what's actor's name. It's also on Netflix. You can watch it on Netflix. It's called Fahrenheit 451, I believe.
I never heard of it, Phil, and I want to watch it now because of that. Just started watching.
You should start with the book first, and just finish up with and polish your knowledge with that, visual trailer, because it's almost shows everything you need to know about this.
Dude, I can't read it. Put another book on my plate right now, bro. But I'll check it out.
I believe it's on YouTube. It's very famous science fiction, I believe.
Okay, what's
Ray Bradbury, by the way.
You got me share?
Yes, you
okay. So this is one of my books, and I think it can relate here to what we're talking about as far as
just a little jump before you start. I believe this book is related to scarcity, right?
Well, it's economic principles and problems of policies, and yes, that's one of the main things that it starts off with. So this is the copyright 3646, and I just want to show you guys. We're not going to read this whole thing, but maybe I'll read the first paragraph. Maybe I will read the whole thing, Philip, because it will give us some context. What do you think? Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, I think you have good pronunciation, better than the accent guy, so you can read for sure.
How dare you? All right, that's Philip saying that, man. All right, dude, here we go. Most men neither have nor can tell easily. Most men neither have nor they can easily get all the income they desire for the gratification of their wants. Upon this basic fact, of scarcity in relation to human wants, the whole subject of economics has been built. Human wants are the great driving forces of an economic world in which there is not enough of everything for all. If our wants were fewer and less urgent, or if the things that satisfy them, in parentheses, what economists call goods, were more abundant, many of our present economic activities would disappear. But one of the most striking facts about civilized man is the number and variety of his wants. And at the same time, one of the most stubborn facts about the world in which we live is the scarcity of want satisfying goods. That's a very good point. As a consequence, men must work to get a living. To carry on this struggle for a living more effectively, men have developed a great variety of means and human relations, which now constitute the structural organization of our economic society. To furnish an understanding of the functioning of the economic society is the chief purpose of economics as a social study. To show that economic process are not chaotic, but rather in accordance with laws which can serve as guides for action. I have something else to relate to that. Okay. Which can serve as guides for action. Rothschild principle. Let's see. With laws which can serve guides for action is the hope for economics as a science. To improve the mechanism by which men make a living is the task of the technical arts. To bring into constantly more efficient coordination the many interdependent parts of an ever-changing economic system is the duty of economic statesmanship, both in and out of political office. Since the beginning and end of economic study is man. Since the beginning and end of economic study is man, there is a large humanistic element in economics. In its method, however, systemically searching for the causes of economic phenomenon and of reducing its conclusions to laws, economics is science. Not inaptly, therefore, economics has been called a social science, the term suggesting its kinship with both humanities and the sciences. Whether one emphasizes the humanistic or the scientific element in it, economics is a branch of human learning which treats the means and activities by which men get a living. Okay, so let's extrapolate on that a little bit. Now, what I think about, Philip, is a video that you had. I'll stop sharing and we'll talk about that. And we'll rehash what that was. That was the beginning of Chapter 1, Human Wants and the Scarcity of Goods, from the book Economic Principles, Problems, and Policies. So what I think about when I read that, Philip, is a video that you shared a couple months ago with that gentleman who was talking as a speech, and he was detailing. Let me stop sharing, sorry. You know what? I actually might have that. Hold on. Fear of not. And let me just put this in your mind too, guys. Okay, this is before cattle grazing. Okay. How dare you? Okay, I might not be able to find it real quick. I mean, don't rush me. Trying to build a narrative here.
Are you a Greta Thunberg follower?
Am I?
Yeah.
I don't agree with what she says.
How dare you?
There you go, Philip. I took an excerpt of that guy talking about how 100 years ago it was all mostly farming. And now it's do you remember that video when he was talking to a bunch of billionaires about how 100 years ago there were 75% of people?
Guy from Aspen Club.
I would recommend watching that because that kind of illustrates exactly what this is all talking about. People, all their wants. I mean, I don't know what narrative we're going to get into with this. Maybe you can extrapolate more or dovetail more, but if more people farmed and had less wants, maybe we wouldn't be in the situation that we're in right now, economically speaking. globalist speaking, and that kind of brings in the whole, Rothschild equation. In the book that I have right here, I'd highly recommend what the equation, what he was just I'll stop sharing and I'll find it later. Sorry. People have their doubts about this guy, William Cooper, and Behold a Pale Horse, but in the first chapter, it's called, this is extremely important. Now, what he was detailing.
Economic inductance.
Is that equation.
Introduction of silent weapon.
Now, there's an equation in here called the Rothschild equation, and what they do is apply those economic principles to the actual society. Okay, and they can literally measure it like a projectile. And not only that, they can measure it, the reverberations of that from the actual the mechanism that it's shot from. They call it an economic missile, I guess, and they can actually steer economic the general zeitgeist, if you will, of a populace by introducing a stimulus, seeing what happens to that stimulus, and recording the effects of it on the society. And it's called the Rothschild equation. It's in this. And I think that was a good context to show that economic principles excerpt, because there's motive in a whole industry based on wants and what you want, what I want, what I think that I need, but I might not need. So what say you? It was like right from the hip. I didn't have it.
I believe this could relate to the history and theory of resets, because scarcity itself is not a phenomena in a working society. It's something that is brought up, and it's a technology to manipulate the main public. I would say the general public. So I
found it, Philip. Let's share it.
Yeah. Okay.
And that industrial order has been collapsing before our very eyes for the past 50 years. The housing, auto, energy.
I sped it up. I screen recorded it and did a fast play just so it's faster. Maybe this one. Let's play it.
Real order. And that industrial order has been collapsing before our very eyes for the past 50 years. The housing, auto, energy complex was the pinnacle, the fundamental driver, the fundamental social and economic and spatial underpinnings of the mass production industrial order. That is collapsing all around us. This economic and social transformation to human intelligence, to knowledge and creativity is more dramatic than any economic transformation that ever happened before. Now think about how painful they were.
I bet it was more painful than it was a book for you.
Think about the things William Blake wrote about.
Yeah, Wizardry 101.
Yep.
When he wrote about laboring in the satanic mills. Think about the challenge Marx and Engels wrote in the Communist Manifesto.
Writing this book for you.
And notice how they just blatantly say that S word. You know what I mean? There's no reference to faith at all, your benevolent faith. They just really nonchalantly reference the word, and I don't even want to say it. Like not saying Sauron in Lord of the Rings. It's just so cavalier and brash. You wonder why we, I'm not against, and I don't get aggravated anymore, but you wonder why we have certain sentiment with how they talk so cavalier about you're making a living for my family. It's like lines drawn, and I'm not acting against. I'm doing my own thing, but I hope that they understand that sentiment. And I don't even know who they are, but whatever.
Think about the things William Blake wrote about when he wrote about laboring in the satanic mills. Think about the challenge Marx and Engels wrote in the Communist Manifesto. Think about the fundamental economic crises, 2 world-encompassing depressions, major world wars. And this economic transformation, I would submit, is a more fundamental break with the past than any of those others. Now, I don't want to bore you with too many statistics, but I do want to give you a few, which will enable you to understand the magnitude and scope of the transformation we have gone through. In the year 1900, more than 50% of Americans worked on farms. A growing number of us worked in factories. Less than 5% of us worked in the knowledge, professional, and what I call the creative industries. That's science, technology, research, development, entrepreneurship, management, the professions, arts, media, entertainment, and design. By the year 1950, we had become a manufacturing economy. Less than 5% of us now worked in agriculture. More than 50% of us worked in or around the factory, the industrial economy. Less than 10% of us worked in the creative economy. Beginning in the year 1980, our economy begins to undergo this transformation. Between 1980 and today, the U.S. economy generated 20 million jobs in the creative sector of the economy: science, technology, management, law, healthcare, arts, entertainment, media, and design. Today, more than a third of the workforce is employed in these fields. In some of our biggest cities and metros, it's more than 40%. Less than 10% of Americans work in direct production occupations. 22% of us work in blue-collar work broadly, which includes construction and transportation, moving and logistics. 1% of us work in agriculture.
That's a pretty good time to start the Great Reset. That's what he thinks. There's nobody working in a real sector in agriculture. Who's going to feed all these creative people, right? If the real crisis strikes. And this made-up statistics is definitely showing us that this Great Reset theory wouldn't be very good for all these people.
Over the course of the next decade, we will generate another 7.5 million.
Whatever. Now let me show this great point to underline what you just said, Philip. And on that, let me just show this real quick and we'll move on. That dude's selling his industry and selling his game to his billionaires. And it results in Congress women or whatever, like literally trying to say that flatulence of cows is bad for you and me. Meanwhile, stop driving because I'm breathing your exhaust, if you want to use that argument. It literally comes down to that. And look at this, okay? This is a real world example of what happens to an arid or, it's not that well grown tract of land. And you just release cows on there and it becomes lush because they fertilize it. And meanwhile, we can't drive cars or use cows for energy, which is the system that they set up for us or whatever that was set up for us. He just detailed that. And now it's our fault. Not saying that it's, that's the type of stuff that I'd like to talk about here, and you can bounce off that, Philip. Just something for people to think about,
Yeah, of course. If you think about medievals, by the way, guys, we're just still in warm-up, but we're coming to a topic. Medievals probably emerged in 3 stages. First one is development or emergent, when they actually got to the numbers of so-called slavery era where all this agriculture was booming and flourishing because of slaves. But in the medievals, they were like thrown to the dark ages first and then just emerged to the level of 1,000 years before that. So that was the first stage. Second stage was actually maybe reorganizing of society. And the third stage was dying, when all those reforms that were could be possible in those medieval times were stopped. One occasion changed everything, and they were recovering for 200 years. And I call this period dying of medievals because after Black Plague, when like 1/3 of European population was, I would say, sacrificed to something non-explainable, something that we probably see in nowadays too. This quarantine situation that was everywhere changed European dialects, and people from the same countries, from the same region, stopped to understand each other because of dialects, because nobody was traveling from city to city. It was around 100 or maybe 200 years, that period of quarantines everywhere. And all this trade was spreading those diseases, and they were delivering those diseases to New World, to Americas. As you know, they were, even given those blankets to Indians, which were charged with some infection. And those tribes were disappearing in a couple of days. They were
terrain theory.
Terrain
theory.
Yeah, whatever. You can call it whatever, but this is actually what they're saying. Those official historians that we can read that in the book. That's what I don't believe in that everything, but the story tells us that since the Black Plague, medieval history was degrading, and they recovered only in 17th century, only in the late 17th century. And 1700s, not 17th century, 1700s. Like when all those revolutions started to be inspired by the new movements, new, I would say, bourgeois capitalism ideas. First revolution was in the Netherlands, second one in Britain, and third one in France. Then it was like popping everywhere, and all these medieval era changed to, so 200 years, the period of recovery. Second period of, from what I believe mud flood period was, after that Napoleonic Wars and so something like this. Also 200 years, we have new stuff coming right in between, before we see it, we can see it around us. You can look around. We have a new record, by the way, in Moscow today, a new record since March 2020. It's like 9,000 people today, and this craziness is not stopping. It's not stopping. They ain't gonna stop it.
For what? Oh, are you talking about cases?
Yeah, there's a registered case.
They're not going to stop it, no matter how blatantly obvious it is, in my opinion, that it's so not, whatever you want, terrain theory or germ theory. I subscribe to terrain theory. It matters not. They're going to keep on going with it hard. They may ease back a little bit, but this is their excuse. This is my opinion, Phil. I believe that with scarcity and economics of catastrophe, like this whole catastrophism thing, like I really think that catastrophes are labeled as such in retrospect. Like they're just resets, and they say cataclysm so they can off-put their guilt or whatever. It's and I'm not even labeling guilt, even at the Rothschilds or these international bankers. Its own people's morality also, right? It just comes to a head. And it seems in the past few hundred years, their system only takes 100 years, So 1808, the burning of 1812, burning of Buffalo, and then the Spanish flu 100 years ago. Their Ponzi, it appears to me, keeps on reaching its limit, and that's what you would call a reset. And then they would just say a catastrophe, whether it's like for the example that I put about Pantai-Remus. I mean, Phil, there's nothing that tells me that wasn't a possibility of. They could even set up the parameters for a catastrophe and label it as such because they know about it ahead of time. And I really think that I illustrated that example with showing that Pantai-Remus, where they literally allowed the sea to flood into a mine. And that's why we call mine and all that stuff. And I believe time's a lot longer than we think. And they label catastrophes as such in hindsight because the winner always has the pen. And then they can control, just like I said with the scarcity, they bottleneck the energy, they bottleneck the goods, everybody gets crazy, and they look to the beacon, the neon light of like, give me the answer. And then they could dole out whatever answer they want. It's the Hegelian dialect. And I think it's becoming so much more apparent now to those that see it, but we know they're going, just like you said, they're going to continue with it. So in hindsight, 20 years down the road, whatever happens after this, they're going to label it. They're going to say that it was the sea, and I'm not the COVID. Okay, and it's just catastrophism. I believe. It's a bolide impact, like Randall Carlson talking about a bolide impact created potholes Cooley, and it's like, pump the brakes, buddy. I respect your work and everything, and I'm being professional here, but you didn't address Pantai-Remus. I might be completely off base by that, but nobody seems to be talking about it. Nobody seems to be chattering about it other than a couple people. And that's a tell, in my opinion. I think catastrophes are labeled. Resets can be labeled catastrophes in hindsight. So they can obviously control that history is written by the victors. We know this, and it just scares people. Scarcity.
Victors appear only if somebody's fighting somebody. Like we have today on the thumbnail, two people fighting, and there you have a victor or you have a loser, right? And so my thinking is that those controllers are actually performing all those resets each time, and they don't let anyone into the fight. There's their tactics. They don't fight. They're just setting shit up,
They know all the characters involved. They know the battlefield, the location. They know all the factors. There are no variables. If there are any variables, they got that person or that variable honeypotted probably. And it's like you got the game stacked to you. And you guys are still whining about stuff. And I'm not even against it. I'm not trying to put myself up as a target. We're just researching here. These are all my opinions.
Let's start with target. Target, what is target? It's actually a tar get. Tar is, as I've been saying, related to Tara, and Tara is also, you can call it storing or packing something to a package. So target is where you get the packaged good, like where you get the product from. And you can have all those tracks related to mining. And previously, we were talking about it before, I believe, with many people. I wanted you to watch these Crow and Ray Bradbury before we start this discussion. But anyways, I think it would be nice to remind everybody about that information. So we're not just talking about resets as a theory or something. We're talking about as an investigation. So as any investigation, you can find those, coincidental evidence or tracks or marks or maybe some hints that criminal left on the crime scene. And the crime scene right now is history. It's added a history, and you can find those hints throughout the history, and they show the pattern of how they act in actually, and how they, manage to, get rid of all this evidence that is pointing directly at them. They left only coincidental evidence. That's it. That's why we can only speculate on that.
You want to see a video that'll demonstrate that, how they hit it, and it has to do with mining? I got it right here, bro. It's unbelievable. Thought I did. Maybe I didn't. Oh, you know what? Here, we can do this. Let's go to my. I'll go to my IG. IG. That's out, Philip. I'm wondering. Maybe I sent this to you.
I don't know.
All right. I'm gonna plug my IG channel here, bro. You mind?
If you paid me for advertisement, as you know, I'm paid shill, so I'm supposed to be paid for it.
Your page. Okay, here we go. Let's share. You think? Oh, how did you hide it? Okay.
I can see anything.
Real quick. Here you go. Real quick clip. Keep an eye. This is for my bushwhacking buffalo.
If you want
Railroad.
it to be with sound or not?
No, don't need it. There is no sound.
Okay.
Literally, just watch what they're doing. They have a railroad track. This reminds me of the Niagara Gorge. They could just set. They mine underneath. This is a mining thing, and they can create a maelstrom by like a pothole, right? How they compromise the integrity of underneath, and then the potholes form. And if you're doing it off a river like this, they can create a maelstrom, and that stuff gets sent down, gone to the sands of time. I just found that like a couple of days ago. My mind was blown. Also, peep this stuff. Like I said, bushwhacking buffalo. Check me out there. Also, Philip, you can find him there too. Look at everything. It's all mine. Like you said, you like this one too, right? It appears to be all
my
mine.
kids play there.
Yeah. All right, I'll stop sharing. But you see how they put a whole train cart down a maelstrom. Think about what they can. I never even thought of that. Think about what they can disappear like that, like you just said. That's how they would do it. I mean, and that's gone to the sands of time. Gone.
Yeah, that's a whirlpool of history.
Yeah, good point.
That's how they do it. But I just wanted to continue. So first we start with the let me find that video. Maybe I can scroll through it, and so that would be a lot faster than me just repeating stuff.
Yeah, I gotta keep talking for a quick second. I gotta do something.
Okay, let's see, guys. The video is called Crown and Ray Bradbury. I'm gonna put it on full screen. Okay.
Now, have any of you guys ever seen one of these bad things for real? We burned almost every physical book in the country. So by the time you guys grow up, there won't be one book left. Burn it.
Your vitals have been off recently.
Did firemen used to put out fires?
That's a classic lie. Have you used your drops today?
I want to know why we burn. We are not born equal. We must be made equal by the fire. And then we can be happy. I got things inside my head that don't make sense. Dreams that I can't explain. Read before the men come back. Do you want to know what's inside these books? Insanity.
They're lying to you.
What aren't you telling me?
You never do anything. You're just like Beatty.
I'm not like Beatty.
We have an important task for you.
If anybody sees me, I'm dead.
The danger is real and immediate. We need to get ahead of it.
What if I tell these people what you do? Words are a terror, son, I know. Knowledge is a dangerous thing. Drop it!
Hi, people. Today we're going to talk about
You still there, Phil?
firemen, Yep.
Okay.
managers, and what did ancient firemen did in those buried windows. How Brandenburg gates connected to fire boats, and what's up with brandmauers, those firewalls that left from the 19th century. First, we're going to talk about Ray Bradbury in Fahrenheit 451. The novel tells us about some special team, special force firemen that were actually destroying books and all this evidence of ancient knowledge. So, this is probably the reason why we don't know anything else except that edited history that they tell us. So, the top fireman was called Brandmeister, and it's an ancient 19th century word which starts with brand. So let's start with brand. What is actually brand? Brand is the border between the actual product or the thing that you buy or the thing that you use or the thing that you look at and the actual thing. So it's just the border, and you look at this brand and you think about the product and imagine what it's going to be. But actually it's just a name, it's just the cover or the gate between you and the product, right? Just like the Brandenburg Gate in Berlin. I've told about Berlin plenty much times. It's consists of bear and Lin, so it's bear place, bear town. But whatever, it has Brandenburg gates, and they're very famous. Tourists
Okay.
and also often pictured in front of them. But who knows that Berlin was actually a staff fort, and so Brandenburg Gate is the entrance to the staff fort. Also, we have this Brandenburg Gate in Kaliningrad or Königsberg, which is now a Russian town and was actually a Prussian town, Eastern Prussia town. But what? So what leads branding to 451 is still a good deal, because we have this book and it has 451, and literally brand, it's just a brandmauer. Brandmauer is a firewall, and the firewall is what we know in our computer, and a brandmauer is an ancient walls that constructed between those houses to protect them from fire. They're supposed to be like that, but actually what they are is not what they tell us. Like, for example, this wall is literally older than the house, so probably it can be a wall from the previous house, pre-flood house. So brandmauer equals brand equals protection equals fire protection, and leads us to a firewall. And the firewall, as I've said before, is a program that can also protect our computer from different activities that are unwanted and so prohibited or whatever. But who is the one who knows what's prohibited? Who is the one who knows what's unwanted? It's brandmeisters were the heads of the fireman crew, and they're supposed to be like the bosses and stuff like this. And we have a brandmeister also in the 451, and it's a it's a picture of the crew in 19th century, and it looks like it very much was very professional. But where they have these heads from, those emblems that they have on their heads. Look at this little bombs with the fire coming out of them. So it's like a bomb or grenade. So it leads us to another kind of troops which were called grenadier. These are their emblems, and you can see the same thing. So probably dismissed grenadiers became so-called fire crew, and they look pretty much like this. They threw grenades and they started fire, and maybe they were the same as what we see in 451. Just literally the same, you know. Yeah, let's imagine like they really were dismissed, and this whole brigade of grenadiers or whatever started to, work for those who were parasites, or maybe something like a brand. Brand is also a door in the yacht, and it closes it from the water, so water won't be flowing inside. And brand also is a ship which was supposed to be attacking a bigger ship for just burning it and blowing it and stuff like this. So it's not just the brandmeister thing, it's not just the fireman, it's not just the thing, it's just the meaning of this word: brandmeister, brand wall, and brandmauer, firewall, whatever. So those firemen were actually doing exactly the same as what Ray Bradbury says in his novel. They were erasing the evidence of the previous knowledge, previous civilizations, previous science, books, and stuff like this. And also, what we see here is they trying to do something. I thought you want to say something.
Is another movie where they lay a lot of truth out as far as resets, and even the mud is Gangs of New York. And
Exactly.
I wonder if they were trying to lay that truth out because Boss Tweed, he was doing business with Butcher, Bill the Butcher, Daniel Day-Lewis's character, and he operated the firemen, and there was always beef between the firemen, and they were always first on the scene after a fire, after a catastrophe, so they can.
Yeah, and they're the first and the only ones who admitted to the place during some certain event, right? They're the ones who clear stuff.
Yeah, gravy for sure.
Yeah, and in the book they ask him, "Aren't we supposed to take down fires?" And he said, "Like,
yeah, well, they were going in. That's
fires?
The truth. They were going in there to loot it. They're like, everyone knew that it was an opportunity to loot it. So there you go."
And remember last year, all this technology starts the same. Somebody starts fire everywhere, and then crowds runs around and starts looting. Everything is pretty much contained. Where fire burns, everything is looting because nobody goes to that place. Everybody's scared. Like you were talking about scarcity is scared city.
Scarcity. And then and then back in the day, they'd send in the hoses. I mean, the monitors. I mean, the water cannons, and then wash it all down. Where all the mud come from? The radio patterns, and probably the monitors. I don't know. That's what I as a general, I would do that.
My explanation to what you've been saying last time and right now bringing it up, I'm thinking about excavation. It's a possible, explanation for everything.
Well,
or
we've
not.
talked about that, Philip, about using the slurry and the hoses too. We've shown that. Why wouldn't you just use it?
Yeah,
for
you mean
water
you mean if you have a monitor and a hill nearby, you can you flush it away and all this mud goes downtown. So
or
it's
just a current or a current.
yeah, or dam. It's a technology. Don't believe in this as a simultaneous event. Nobody said that. It was a
Bingo.
period of time. But if you have a long timeline, this small period is very, very short. And you actually get all this stuff fit in this 10 or 20 years, and that is like very ridiculously short.
Let me
timeline.
say something else as an aside here. Philip, have you ever verbally asserted or said that Tartaria was in America?
Some territories probably were in the northern parts of America up to California.
Okay. I don't think I've ever said that, and if I have, I may have misspoken. And had I did that and it was a mistake, please don't hold me to the fire. I apologize if I've offended anybody in my quest for research, trying to find information and explore it. But I've come to find out that it's a little bit bigger than that. I entered the game with interest in that subject. So yeah, if I was making some miscues and I misspoke, let me be the first to apologize for that. I'm trying to put stuff together as well as Philip is. And I leaned a lot on Philip and still do in the beginning. But let me go ahead and underline that again. I don't think that I've ever explicitly said that Tartaria is in America. Okay. If I did, I misspoke. I was wrong. And I learned more. I acquired more data. And a good example, a real life example I would use for that is at one point in time, I didn't know how to tie my shoe. And then I acquired more data and I learned, I was taught, and then I found out how to tie my, so I can't be held over the fire or anybody else for misspeaking in the course of genuine research. So if I have misspoke before, I apologize. I misspoke, and we're learning and we're moving forward. And by the way, that's in the wake.
Yeah,
the rear view.
We were only speculating, but none of the maps, by the way, if we look at the maps, none of the maps show that Tartaria was worldwide. It was Europe, Asia, and maybe some of Alaska and some of West Coast.
I got books that confirm that. I have books. I'm not even going to show them. Whatever. If you want to solicit me and professionally solicit some information, I'm not going to show all the stuff that I have. I have books that say it was confirm what you said. Siberia, Asia,
But there's a huge but in everything that is smooth. And I was making a video about maps being faked and how they're supposed to be taken care of.
Share screen. Philip, share screen real quick. Let's hammer that out right quick.
You have something?
I got gravy.
Okay.
Serious gravy. Borscht. You want to call it borscht? What do you like? What do you like to put on your? I know it's a soup, but what's a good word?
It's called solyanka. When you mix all the stuff that is not mixable.
What's the sauce that you get from gravy? What do you call it? What's the sauce that you get from meat? What do you call it, Philip?
I don't usually use any sauce from meat, but because leaf, it's in a very cheap. It's a Soviet kitchen has this stuff as a sauce for meat, but we don't use it.
Okay, so this is from a friend who was in the military before. Okay.
Can you screen share it? Actually,
I thought I was. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. See it? This is on my Instagram, Bushwhacking Buffalo. Former military here. Some other gravy. When I was in the military, this pretty much addresses all the stuff for maps. Okay, I understand that just as much as text is spelling, and especially if the medium that you're obtaining it from is pretty much controlled by the Eye of Sauron. That's why I take all that information that I get from the screens with a chunk of salt, and I like to refer back to my books more. That said, you can also be feedback like this. Now let me read this. Some other gravy. When I was in the military, our warrant officers had to sign out real maps that were accurate, showing true topography, and I never understood what the heck was the big deal. Only 2 people, the platoon commander and warrant officer, were allowed to view the maps. This was anywhere we went. And I knew a guy who caught glances of those maps. We all thought that they had special locations or some super secret stuff on them. They were just true topographical maps, true maps. Now, there's a follow-up on this. Also, I can tell you from extensive land navigation that the maps that are available, both when I was in, meaning the military, and available maps anywhere I have lived since, will be off by a huge amount over relatively small distances. I've used USGS maps, ETC, etc. Those maps we used in the military were small 20 to 30K square mile maps. So that's direct feedback from a former person who was in the military addressing the fact that you're never, ever, and even if you go to your city registry, which some have spoke of recently about, finding old construction photos and stuff like that. Great information, because you're not going to get only so far on the internet. Feedback like that is invaluable. You'll never find proper maps available to us, especially when ones that are true have to be signed out by, like he just said, what do you say? The platoon commander or warrant officer. Anybody in the military, I would love the feedback and appreciate it. What say you, Philip?
Well, I was talking about different types of map. There's a navigation map. I was talking about historical and
Still
political
applicable.
maps. Well, anyways, we can see that some conditions that the map were stored in are not comparable to the technologies they had before. So there's no way they can store a map from 15th century to 17th century without ruining. And we see that the quality of 15th century map is equivalent to the quality of 18th century map. So there is no way. They didn't have those underground facilities to store something in clear, non-moisture conditions with exact temperature for 300 years, and therefore not ruin those maps. So I believe some maps could be faked or could be re-edited by somebody else from the real maps when they get destroyed or something. And that's why we see so many colorful, non-explainable stuff on some maps, because people say that they were drawing maps by hand, but I don't actually believe it. Yeah. Turn your mic on.
Cross-section Niagara Falls, when he's talking about underground stuff. Also, some direct feedback. There was an air show at Niagara Falls Thursday, but people said that they were, well, you know what? I'll show that, actually. See that? Oh, what does that look like to you? I went over this before, and you just said underground stuff. You guys think that it's crazy. I got some feedback right there. And then most Buffalonians walk the streets and sidewalks of the Queen City without giving a second thought to what lies underneath their feet. But something major is hidden under those silver city grates. And it's pretty amazing. No, it's not a team of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, although there was a portion of the movie filmed here. True story. There are thousands of vaults and tunnels hidden under the streets of Buffalo that date back to the origins of the city. It's completely unexpected and completely awesome. And the video that they...
Answer the question. How did they construct all those tunnels with those tools that they obtained back then?
In my opinion, I think it's explained by more time. I don't want to use that as an excuse, but I think, Philip, that
those tunnels are still available for checking out. They didn't collapse.
That's what I'm trying to do here. Oh, well, you know what? Though, check this out, though, Philip. Let's go back to my IG.
What we see in Moscow is tons of those tunnels, and none of them collapsed, actually.
Watch this, Philip. This is direct from like yesterday. Where is this?
If you want to do it with sound, you're supposed to share sound.
I think I did. There's no sound in it, though. Let me go to my DMs, my homie Breeze. Where you
at? We're going to come to Tartars a little bit later, guys. Just hold on. We're still in the middle of a huge beginning of our discussion.
I can't find it. That's as an aside. Well, it's not a big deal. There was like fireworks going off in Niagara Falls, and there was a video of some lady reporting that she actually heard something that was specifically different than fireworks. She was living there for 15 years, and I don't know, could they be doing stuff underground there? I have no idea. Also, there goes your heritage, and I'll stop sharing for you. I don't want to get. Oh, radio grid. Here we go. You want to talk about this?
Yeah, just finish it up.
Well, this is a whole different subject, Phil. What do you're the commander, homie. What do you want to do?
Oh, what I just think is that any big construction episode in our history has been recorded, as you can see, right? But huge reconstruction of city, huge planning of streets, moving of houses, maybe dismantling those houses, constructing the new ones, planning the city height of the streets, so the level of the streets could be equal, the same, or maybe slight decline, so the water can flow towards it's supposed to go, right? All this stuff is pre-planned, and underground works are also very difficult. You have to be very skilled engineer to plan stuff like sewers, all this, how do you call it when it's heavy rains and water's supposed to go into the sewers? How do you call it? We call it
drainage.
Drainage, yeah. Also, drainage is supposed to work. It's not supposed to be stuck with something. You're supposed to have all these facilities cleaned up and maintained, just like channels and rivers. Because if you have them filled with mud, or maybe some organic waste, at some certain point when the big waters coming in spring, or maybe mountains defrost, all this water comes down, maybe heavy rains, and your area is flooded due to the lack of space in the river channels, and all this water is flooding, and everything is flooded. So you're supposed to maintain rivers. That's why the dredging procedures are performed nowadays. That's why we have so many people who exploitate all these sewer systems, all those people that work underground and have an engineering education. I don't believe they had anyone like this 200 years ago. And therefore, I believe they had only human resources to clean and maintain, but not to construct, okay? Because constructing and fixing something this engineerically skilled is very expensive. And I don't believe they have it in every city. And I don't believe people have any records of that, actual pictures or blueprints of those constructions. You never find those, as you never find any blueprints of huge constructions. Like, by the way, I was watching nearby areas of your city hall and didn't find any mud flood buildings there. So probably everything was erased, but could be built on some ancient foundations, and you can find it only during excavation right now. You can find it with your naked eye because of those street planning works that they preceded, and they actually recorded them. Okay. Did I explain you anything on your idea?
Yep. And I'm going to underline it right now. This is my basement, and with the street level windows, Philip, like I just showed a picture of mud flood. People think that when we say that mud flood or whatever, it's indicative of a one event, one global worldwide mud inundation. And I don't agree with that whatsoever. I think it happened in pockets, catastrophe here, catastrophe there, or whatever, mud flooding per radial street patterns dug out, like you said. Now, what this is, I just wanted to show you guys. This is in the basement of my house. There is actually a drain system to allow for, there goes the chimney with red brick in it also. There is a system, Philip, an infrastructure that allows for water to get in. Now, I understand that it's not ideal in a freeze-thaw cycle climate like we have in Buffalo. But if you have an infrastructure below, like you were just saying, like we seen in vaults in that article, then it's not imperative that you don't have. It's not like, oh, look at the first level windows. It's automatically a mud flood, Tartaria reset. Like we have to be more specific and laser with that, because if there is a system, which there is, I'm looking at the drain right now in my basement, and it goes down deeper to another drain, of course, that probably tees into the one on the street. And just like you also illustrated, you got to be very specific with that, so it pulls the water per gravity, right?
Well,
you can't just willy-nilly do that. So there was an infrastructure laid out before. Now, whether that was from a previous civilization, Philip, or they had it all laid out to begin with.
Yeah, I
and
believe none
sandboxed
of
it.
those houses of 19th century have this system, because all those houses that I was inside, all those sub-basement and basement floors, didn't have anything like this. Your house was constructed at what period?
Like probably earlier than 1934, because this is a picture of my house right here. Actually, I don't even give a shit to show it. That's a picture of my house, and the date on that in the back. I got covered.
So
The
probably
data.
people already know that they had heavy rains, and probably it was late 1800s or a beginning of 20th century.
And let me say something too about Buffalo. I'm not just really trying to puff my chest out here. It's a good example point, because the War of 1812, there's no foundation. I seen a University of Buffalo professor speech about this, saying that you're not going to find a cornerstone in Buffalo prior to 1813 because of the fire of 1812. So it's a good epitome, if you will, for all this type of research, because we have a starting point, right?
So probably your city experienced fire reset, as those Bomberos used to do. They used to make fires.
I just went over that in my last video, Philip. We do. Yeah, it's the burning of Buffalo. I have pictures and everything. I went over it. Check my last video out.
Moscow had fire, but it's a method. It's a technology. It's not a catastrophe.
It's an economic principle that's used that we just established in the beginning to move an agrarian societies, farming mainly, to industrialized. And it's your fault. It's your bad for the cars that we sold you and the industry that we sold you. And you can't use cows no more. Meanwhile, they do what they do for the grass that I showed. Okay, people have had it. Or you know what? I don't want to be antagonistic. I'm just doing my thing with my family, and I'm blessed and grateful. But when I do this research and we get into something like this, it's a little bit more in depth than my boots on the ground, or even when you do it, Philip. It certainly elicits some emotions, because we're passionate about it. And we don't like seeing our fellow human beings suffer like this and be like remanded to like. That's why we call them psychopaths. I'm not against it. I vehemently disagree with their the way they operate.
Yeah, let's return to the subject. If you have everything figured out now.
I think I got it off my chest, bro. Thanks.
Okay. So, people, for those who just joined us, we are talking about reset theory. In the first floor of this buried building. Look there. What are they doing? They're not doing any fire managing thing. They're not, came here because of fire. They're doing something to erase something. And if we watch this movie, if we read this book, we can understand what are they doing there. They often did the same in this novel, because actually this novel represents not the future. It represents the past. It represents how the technology of them doing it to us, how they proceed, how they implement this thing that nobody can remember anything. How did they enforce people to burn the books? How do they enforce people to erase the knowledge and start new life from 0 point? So if we look at those old buildings and see the Brandmauer or firewalls, it's also a message to us. It's also reminding us of the previous civilization. And the Brandmeisters were actually those who were erasing this thing. And now they call the fireman crew, and actually, firemen were seen in many controversial activities like 911, and we're going to talk about this maybe in the future videos, what 911 represents, because it's tightly connected to what I'm going to be talking today. Even in Russia, we have 112 for this, 911 thing that you have in America. And so Fahrenheit 451 is supposed to be the temperature of burning the paper, but actually paper burns at not this temperature. It burns at 800 degrees of Fahrenheit. So if it's not Fahrenheit, it's going to be Celsius. Yes, we look at the Celsius and we see that paper burns exactly at 450 Celsius degrees, you know. So we have like 451, which is very close. So let's go and decrypt Celsius. So now we know it's not Fahrenheit 451, it's Celsius. So if Celsius, let's translate it from Russian to English, and we see Celsius. Okay, if we try to decode it and say like first cell is going to be purpose, and C is going to be science. Science is science. That's right.
Purpose or target, guys. Purpose or target.
Zion. So if we write Zion in Russian,
How
we
dare
write
you?
Zion.
How dare you?
Zion is, of course, you know what? It's Zionists. It's just all the same thing. So Celsius means purpose, Zion.
Target,
Okay?
target Zion. Goal Zion. Or goal of Zion.
Purpose of Zion. Or purpose is Zion. If we turn it another way.
You see that, Neil?
Zion, goal. So
That was gravy.
let's start with some what I'm saying, spelling, right? So we got crawl.
Where's your wizard hat, Phil?
Crawl. In Russian, it's Varona. So Varona is actually the color or black color. Also, vor is a thief. So vor она, it means thief, she is. And Varona is a female name in Russian.
Are you saying vor?
Because Voron is a male.
War. Yeah, war.
So it's like okay. So in English we have both crawl and let's see if we change this. Raven. Okay, raven is a male, but crow is a female. So think about it. So if we add,
It doesn't mean ravens don't have females though.
and
It's just Russian.
Corona.
Scott Olden.
In some languages, corona is
Corona. Corona. Corona.
Crown.
Corona.
Crown.
so here we
Wow, I
have
never knew
crown and we have corona. So it's like not corona like it's literally spelled. It's corona.
Corona. Corona.
You hear this? Corona, not corona. Although we have an O, we pronounce it like corona. And here we have
Crown.
also O, and we pronounce it like a crown. Corona, crown. Okay.
Crown.
Corona.
Corona.
Okay. So this is simply what Varona does, what the crow does. She says car, car, car. In Russian, we say it like this: car, car, car. So Varona speaks car, 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 and we also have king, and it's called Король.
Король.
Also, we have it A. We spell it like A, O like A, and we also have
Король.
it
Король.
Король. And the first one is Car. Car like Varona, Car like Caron, and also we have it like
You can also continue with scarcity. Scare also spells as car. Care is what you do when you take care of body of a deceased person. You take care of him. It's a carry. carry a trophy, like a hunting thing. Also, karma is what you get for what you've done. Kara in Russian is punishment, and so on and so on. So, I mean, those people, those crowned car people, they were the ones who assigning the punishment. They were the ones who were decision makers, and they were the ones who were having this corona thing everywhere. You have it as their symbol, as their main idea. They use it everywhere. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. I have an
Yes.
interest in.
Go back to
Oh, sorry.
Russian. And we go just to car. In English is car. And but this is what Varona says. This is what the crow says. And if we go to kara, it immediately goes to this definition: punishment, scourge, penance, visitations, judgment. So why is this? Oh, I'm talking about this because the crow is what comes to you when you're dead, and it eats you and brings you some type of punishment. Not the punishment, but whatever. It calls kara. Yeah, exactly. Somebody's writing comments. Corvids, the family of those bird. Yeah, crow family. Exactly. And if we go to karma, what is the karma? Karma is actually what we're talking about. It's what you get for what you did in your life, right? So it's all the same. Karol, karma, corona, it's all the same language. You know what I'm saying? And it's all came from one root, and one root is that it gives you the definition. So the crown or the king has origins from the crow. So this is also not the bird thing, but the crow is the bird, you know. And we have so many birds in our emblems. We have falcons, we have eagles, we have peacocks, and we have all of them. And we still can find a connection to Varona and to crow, because we have another thing here.
Crowley.
We go back to Celsius. Okay, we go back to Celsius. It's like Russian Celsius, right? And we had it like we were heading to the definition that it's a goal of Zion, right? And Sion. Okay, let's go back to English. Zion. It's Sion. Look at this. Check it out. It's important. So I spell it exactly like it is. This is how it looks. That would be big one. Okay. So what is this? Let's Google it. It's hydroxide of the cuprum or the copper. And it looks like it has a number 2 here. And it's exactly like this. Let's say like this. So this is the blue blood recipe, because we have ferrum blood and it's all red, and the blue bloods are those who a special type of organism. They say it's a special type of humans that can, if some cataclysm occur, they survive, and you know they proceed.
Yeah, allegedly.
Civilizations and stuff like this. So it's about 5,000 people in the world with the blue blood right now, officially recognized by science. So blue bloods in Russian are those who belong to royal line. So this is where the crow comes. And also, this is the correct way to write the formula of this. And you know what's this, right? It's like 2 columns. Like this. So
The
this is the
Zanclean
entrance
flood.
to any,
Pillars of Hercules.
you know, lodge or even the Solomon temple, right? It all has 2 columns. It's like 911, for example, also 2 columns here. So it's like everywhere. 2 columns is definitely a sign of something that goes to secret societies and stuff like this.
So I don't want to just watch all these videos about half
Yeah,
half
thanks.
an
I was
hour
falling
more.
asleep over here, dude. I'm falling asleep
Yeah.
over here, man.
Yeah, people.
I'm just joking. It's interesting.
Yeah. So it's the copper dioxide. Copper is mined, and so we were talking about that. So those families related to mining for sure, because they have also like griffins on their coats of arms and their emblems everywhere. And I've been talking about griffins just 2 days ago. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's clearly related to mining. Tartary itself, target, it's all the same. Torsion, turning, turbine, it's all mining words that we're using in mining technologies. And these people, they related to traders, and traders is actually trading something, or it sounds like trading. First traders were traders. Tell me what I said.
I know who the
traders.
first traders were per
Yeah,
the
those
mainstream,
few-
what they say. We've been over that, Philip. The
Yeah.
foes.
If you want to blame Phoenicians
Phoenix.
for trading somebody, they probably did. And
Philip,
and
I'm not
Phoenicians
blaming.
too.
I'm not
Yeah.
blaming. I'm
But-
just going off of what they say us and give us in their textbooks.
They were not controlling the processes, believe me. They were just manipulated like the rest.
That remains to
rest
be
of the
debated.
groups.
Phoenician red
Yeah.
equals Tyrian purple. We should do another episode.
Yeah. So, and it all comes up to new information that is popping up these days. And these 2 years, we see that Corona is on the way and it's everywhere. So they like enlighten themselves, and like a husband of current ruling ex-husband said that I want to return the next life as a deadly virus and kill everybody, and so on. So I mean, this is all related, and these people have something in their mind about it, and they sure Elizabeth 11, as they say, Elizabeth II, also 2 columns there, and this video is also talking about that in the end. So
Can I dovetail off of the 2 columns thing and tell you what I think that they symbolize there? Which is, I think that it's a possibility of what they're symbolizing here, and it lends to the whole catastrophe, being able to bottleneck or actually even create it, keeping in mind also, Philip, the idea that we may have been in a mining history for a lot longer, in my opinion, a lot longer than 6K years of recorded history. I'm still working that out, though. But I do believe that we've had mining capabilities longer than what we're told. What can be extrapolated from that, I don't know, but let me share a screen here. And in my opinion, we're talking about the whole Phoenicia thing, and Philip, I get you to just brush it off and whatever. I'm not laying blame or being accusatory. I'm just researching with what they're provided. I have them. I showed you. I have them in my old books.
what you guys calling this name of 6 Rus? It's not actually what you say it is. It's a biological agent, could be a weapon, as recent research of Fauci emails show that
Fauci.
They could be creating it in the lab, as everybody said, as I was saying. So as many people were saying, like a year ago, we made a video who was actually the profiting side of that stuff, and I was putting on tags to be recommended in the video, which was called biological threat. And I gained for around 4 million views on that video. It's on my other channel that I manage, not where I talk, but the one that I managed. And we actually hyped on that video talking about biological threat, because I knew that was true and people were interested in that, and we were sucked into these recommended views and got 4 million views from it. So I mean, that is simple and well-known fact right now. Many scientists know that they have plugs there from different other stuff. So this definitely lab-generated stuff. Okay.
Allegedly.
What do you want to show?
Am I on? So what I think the Pillars of Hercules is referring to, honestly, keeping in mind catastrophe and not in geologic time, I don't buy into. Obviously, I'm Christian. I don't let that influence my research, though. What I believe is what they're calling 6K years of recorded history could be 60,000 years or whatever. I'm still working that out. They may have had mining a lot longer. What the Pillars of Hercules are is the Straits of Gibraltar. Now let me share. I don't need to share audio. There's no audio here, Philip, so.
Just show whatever you're showing.
Chill out, bro. All right, so this is what they call the Zanclean flood. When the Mediterranean was flooded, I think it was like 33 million years ago or whatever. I'm going to read what I posted here as it plays. Zanclean flood hypothesis visual and a Herculean connection. This is my opinion. This is crazy out there, but laying down the outline of what I just said, we've been in the Bronze Age or mining age for a lot longer if we've had this technology. Keeping in mind Pantyremus. Last time I posted this, it was removed per the copyright because of the music. They had a classical song playing over it. The points of mention: Pillars of Hercules, Zanclean flood connection, Pantyremus model, where the sea inundated the tin mine in Malaysia. Okay, applied to the Mediterranean, willing suspension of disbelief. Suspend your disbelief here. Okay, just like when you're watching a movie. Consider the possibility. I do not subscribe to globe heliocentric model. I don't subscribe to history as we're told.
They say you're a NASA lover.
Yeah, so there you go. I think a lot more stuff was mined. Now, if they had the ability to mine and they knew about this and the flood, think of what you can foresee and all the catastrophe that you can apply scarcity to if you knew a flood like that was coming. And you had, we say masons, they know layouts, they do surveying. That's one of the main points of what they do, surveying. There's a very close mining connection. Because I don't buy geological time, I'm offered the ability to pose these questions.
I look at this map as what you're showing is clear mining operation. Somebody mined the hell out of this Mediterranean and dropped all this crap to the Sakura and buried all those in civilization that were cited on the maps. And
so think about now
Africa.
let's take a step back. That was quite flippant, and just saying that you not necessarily agreed to it, but you're open to the possibility of it.
What happens to the quarry after it's done?
Hold up. Take a step back to understand and think about the scope of something like that can possibly happen. And keeping in mind what we laid out initially about scarcity and being able to whatever, that is an unbelievably amazing power grab and ability to start an entire history from the foes, whatever you want to call them. I don't care. I'm just looking at the process of what I think happened. And that Zanclean flood, they say happened like, something like 20.33 million years ago, whatever. There's numerology in it. I don't care. That could have happened right before 6K years of recorded history or before the Egyptians. And then I'm not taking anything away from those old religions. I believe it's all seeing the one I'm still working on that, but consider the possibility. It has to be kept on the table. That's all I'll say.
There's a huge possibility of that, because the same thing they are saying about the Black Sea stuff. They also say that the Bosphorus Dardanelles were connected before, and then something flowed above them, and all this water came in and flooded all this Black Sea and Crimean areas and all this stuff. All those antique civilizations were drowned. Perhaps it was something like an Atlantis, because Crimea looks like a huge surrounded, peninsula.
I think, how we talk about, this is a thought too that I've had from this. If you keep on going back in time, you incorporate, because seriously, like, think about like the Mayan Baktun, Philip. I want to say this to you too, how mainstream historians look at the Mayan calendar. You have the short count, the medium count, and then the long count, which are called Baktuns. Okay. And even modern historians, I remember watching History Channel about this. How are they ever able to grasp such a long count by just looking at the stars and how they move? Now that I think of the way I do, well, the Occam's razor is there was way more time available to them. We talk about wizards and able to craft societies and move stuff here and there. In my opinion, I don't think there's any way to be able to know how to do that in like 6K years. There must be way more time, in my opinion. Now, and then you incorporate the Mayan calendar. Like, you'll literally have a mainstream historian say, like extrapolate and say, how did they have that huge Baktun time scale reference, the Mayans? And it's a big anomaly, effectively. And I'd say, well, it's not a big anomaly if 6K years is actually 60,000 years. Also, that would explain rising and falling of human civilization and this impossible architecture. Guys, it may not have been good. It may have been idealistic and free energy, benevolent energy. Me as a Christian, I might have to say I'm against that at a certain level. You can't make it a sacred cow and say, wow, it was all they were giving it away. I agree with people who are contrary to that. You got to have everything open so you can consider all possibilities. Now, I like to think it was benevolent, and I've said that before. It's quite possible that it wasn't, though. If you're harnessing free energy, you could think about the power that you could have from that if it was possible.
Well, I stick to more obvious stuff, like each quarry gets flooded when you're done. Each quarry gets flooded when you're done. It's just a matter of time. Wait 100 years and it's flooded. I mean,
then they send all the equipment down the maelstrom, dude, and it's like, and then literally, if they're doing stuff,
they just take the equipment with them. Why would they ruin the equipment?
Or they hide it, because if
all the spare parts are everywhere. You can see those bows laying around.
Well, I don't know. You tell me why they would have that video where they're sending a freight crane chart down the maelstrom. I mean, obviously there's a reason. I hear you though.
I don't know what they're actually doing, because it looks like it's the late 19th century or maybe 20th century.
Philip, think if that freight crane chart was filled with a whole bunch of old tech, though. That's probably, you know what I mean? Like, it's possible. Well, or whatever.
Anyways,
old architecture.
So this story is repeatable. They tell it every time they want to explain something, like how did water appeal in this place or at that place, or Mediterranean, Black Sea. It's all connected. It's like a jar, big jar that is filled up with water, and water comes, then it sticks up to here, and then it flows over, and it's flooding the next one. So, I mean, this is simple. Each quarry gets flooded. Period. Done. So you see all this mining waste in Sakura? Yes, you see it. You see all this mining waste in Black Sea shore? Yes, you see it.
Malaysia.
So why wouldn't they mine it and then set things up like we know today and say that it was something like a sandstorm or whatever? What was covered in the pyramids? By the
After
way?
10 years, it literally would just look like a natural erosion anyway. And that's like the best way to, that's a good point.
Maybe they were mining something there.
I have
just
video.
Throwing all this dredging fluids to Sakura, and this is how it flows around. And we see all this Eye of Sakura mark, which is nothing else that something was flowing from above. And this is how it makes all those circles. Those circles are created if you flow body water on the ground. Just do this experiment in your home, and you find out that you have all those circles of water after it's done. So Eye of Sakura explainable like this. And all this flow that comes from it, if you watch the Google Maps, and the same with Asia, you see it from Caspian Sea towards China, all this flow looks like it was flowing and it looks like it was byproducts. Okay.
Even in Mauritania, even the eye in northern Africa, you can see that the flow towards the Atlantic a little bit. Roger always talks about that.
Yeah, and don't forget about raining. The rains also, dissolve all this stuff. Yeah, they make it erosion, weathering stuff.
Yeah,
and
when
you
you
will
do,
see actually all those sharp edges are dissolved in 100 years.
think about it, Philip. Even like 10 years, like you know how they do the hydro mining in the Grand Canyon, like they're just like speeding up the process of erosion. So probably after a year, it just looks like a regular eroded cliff face.
Yeah,
it's genius.
Of course.
I got video of the Archimedes thing actually heating up stone, Philip, and it looks like it does look like glass, like you're saying. I'm not saying anything against. Also, I want to, how
on
people
this very large dark rock, it's going to absorb a lot of the energy. I don't know how it will react. Let's watch.
This is the Archimedes.
It's just lens, just a lens.
Point that at a ship back in the day. They knew about this.
All right, so here's the rock. You can see where the center focal point turned it into glass.
It's got a
sheen. There was a lot of spalling around the center. These paper.
Just like I said, it becomes vitrified and becomes polished black color in where it's melting.
Check that out. Watch this one.
What this giant lens does to this rock.
We'll take the light off, see what it did. So the lens did a couple things. It melted this central area, but it also cracked this rock into 3 pieces.
Okay, now keeping that in mind, now let's do this too, Philip. You see, it did create a sheen. And if it's volcanic rock, it turns it back to obsidian. Now let's go Hoover Dam. Am I still on here? Yeah. All right. Images. You know how when people say that it's melt, I'm not saying I'm against it, whatever. Circuit board cities, and they show these things, these like bricks that are right next to this stuff that looks like melt.
You mean could they use this technology to create these tunnels? And stuff like
no.
this?
What I'm saying is a transition of where the actual Hoover Dam and the brick meet the actual Terra. It looks like that's what some people are saying as example for melt, because it almost looks like there's brick in it, then it's melt. Well, no. Not all of it, because there's if you look at
this exact example looks like petrified mud flow.
Well, what I'm explaining here
concrete, mud, whatever, but nothing melted here, because melting is black and polished.
Philip, I'm not saying it's melted. Listen to me explain this.
Okay.
Where people are using the transition from where the rock itself and the brick, I want to get a close-up image of actually where the Hoover Dam concrete, where the actual concrete meets the natural strata. It literally looks like the same exact examples of what people are using for melts, because they're saying that it looks like it just turns into brick. And I'm telling you, no, it actually looks like the brick from the Hoover Dam is going right into the actual strata here. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Because you can see they dug a channel inside of that mud and did the reinforcement in the mud to hold all this construction. Just imagine also the weight of this water.
The bricks go right up next to they go right into the natural strata.
They cut a pathway in that mud. I understand what you're saying, but you don't understand how they did it. There is no connection
that matters
to the mud
not.
itself.
That matters not. Here, look at this. What I'm trying to say is what people are using as melt examples are failing to incorporate the fact that this looks like melt, but it's not. Where's that picture where the actual concrete meets the strata? It doesn't indicate melt, dude. It indicates the fact that they're just literally taking the concrete and going right up next to the strata, and they could seal it.
Well, I never said that they meet each other. You said it, so I don't know who said it. It's obviously a stupid thing to say.
It's not stupid. It's not stupid because it looks like that. I understand. I'm not calling people stupid.
Well, the clouds look like horses and birds. I don't know.
Okay,
it's called pareidolia. Ask Mike Stellium 7. He was talking about pareidolia.
I seen your call with him. What I'm saying is it's okay where the concrete meets the strata right here at this transition. For example, when they say those huts that are built into the side of cliffs, Philip, and it looks like the brick goes right next to the strata, and people say that looks like this part was heated, and this is a pocket of survival.
Who says this? Just give me an example.
I'm not going to say
how they say it, and I can say my thing. I think it's just
no one's really
in those rocks.
It's not
way deeper than it looks like. It never meets each other.
All right,
it's cut inside, and it creates a reinforcement grid, which they pour concrete in.
This must be
and that's how it looks actually, and you can see it from above. It's not over at the edges itself. It's going inside for a distance. Reinforcement. It's called reinforcement.
We're failing to understand each other.
No, you just showed that picture. When you see that from above,
you're not understanding what I'm saying. It's all good though.
No, I understand. It's nothing meets nothing. Nothing meets nothing.
So what? So let's try it again though. I don't have a good example here. Can you pull? Oh, you know what?
If it was melted construction, then the dam's supposed to be melted too. If they have some connection before the meltdown was proceeded, okay. If they used melting lenses to cut through the rocks and maybe make them straight as they want, perhaps. Why not? Maybe they had something. Who knows, actually? But those rocks doesn't look melted because they don't have all those black obsidian or whatever you call it, basalt type of rocks.
Okay, I can't explain the point.
Just put the aerial view on the screen and let me tell you what it actually was created like. Area, yes.
I'm not worried about the create. What I'm saying, though,
this one. Yeah, can you see it? All these roads around the dam indicate that they cut inside.
Yeah, so here, I'm going to unshare, and you go on your next point, and I'll find an example so I could directly compare.
There's a good example of what they show. I can show it to you right now. If you
go
take a look.
Go ahead. Yeah, I'll find out what I'm talking about. I got to explain this point, though.
I understand your point. I'm not that stupid.
I'm not calling you stupid. We're just having a little bit of a...
This is one of the castles that they show. The castle that's supposed to be melted.
Good idea.
Do you know this castle? It's in Poland.
Let me go look at my castles.
Do you see it?
Oh, yeah, I got you. There you go. Yeah, so it might be, I say probably buried and uncovered.
Looks like ruins and everything, but if you look closely, they have different color. The walls are different color than the rock, and the rock is way older, looks way older than the castle itself. It's first. Second one, as you can see, nothing like construction or a sign of construction on those sides that look melted. And even the walls themselves are created from different material, like red brick and blocks and like random blocks. So something like very primitive construction here. But what they don't show to us is they don't show the whole picture. And the whole picture looks like this. So if you could have seen the whole picture from the first time, you would understand that this is just some mining waste or whatever was here, the stuff that I was showing in the previous video. You can call it fluidoids, mining waste, geological structures, and integration of a castle in it. Because this part over here is similar to this part over here. So if somebody was melting something, so what is this then? Another castle here? No, it's just a rock. And this is just a rock here. So it was integration. And when you
there you go. It's integration. That's a great word. So it's
integration.
That's what I'm talking about. The Hoover Dam is integrated into the strata.
Integration.
Right. So people are using examples of like, it looks like melt right here, and then it goes right into the brick integration. No, there's a technology to butt right up next to those bricks to the strata to seal it. Obviously, look at Hoover Dam and the pressure.
Yes.
Okay, we're on the same page.
Integration and the I would say reinforcement structure that is cut inside of the rock. You don't see it. You only see it when you look at from the aerial view as a roads, small roads that is flowing. That's a whole construction. It's holding all this amount of water. It's very heavy, so it has to be reinforced.
And it looks like the brick turned directly into the strata. You know, like you can't. There's a seam obviously, but it looks like and pockets of survival. I'm not discounting that. I'm just showing another example, a real world example.
In case you're in the path of water, right? So you can go somewhere and hide, right? Pockets of survival.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, listen, I'm not pointing. I'm not discounting that, you know, but we just don't see examples of it, and we're just trying to, you know, like we've never seen a bolide impact. We've never seen a whole building get melted. We do see hydro mining. We do see footage, things of stuff getting buried. And if time is a lot longer than we're told, it has to be incorporated. Even this impossible architecture, which isn't impossible, if they had railroads and stuff and these cantilever truss arches, then they can just railroad anywhere. I mean, I think time is expanded, in my opinion. Not that that's the answer. It's just time. No, that's kind of, I can't say that. If time is a lot more longer than we're told, it lends to it's another part in the formula that we're trying to put together here.
Yeah,
Philip.
and
I'm glad we hammered that out, brother. Yeah, I'm not calling you stupid, dude. However dare you?
I'm calling myself stupid because I'm stupid. The more you know, the more you don't know. The more
I find out, the more I realize I don't really know anything, and I'm not trying to make any claims. I'm not trying to say you're wrong. I'm right. I'm not popping my chest out. I'm researching with you.
Yeah.
You know, okay.
And remember this one-eye conspiracy, like we were trying to do it. And there's a legend, a myth about Horus. And
what did you just say?
Horus.
Horus, yeah, I got you.
Horus, yeah. So we call it just one simple name, Gor. So Gor and Kor is pretty much the same. So it just
that's how you refer to it in Russian. What? Horus? What do you call it?
Gor.
Okay.
Gara is mountain. Gor.
Gravy.
Gara.
Gravy.
So and also word garet is burning. And you know what's burning? Burning consists of bur. And bur in Russian is brown. What you do? It's Egyptian mythology. So when you do boring or boring, it's really boring to do boring, but you do it in mining a lot.
There you go, yeah.
And so Gara is also mountains related to mining. So what I believe is they mixed all this stuff together because they knew all these methods and technologies. It's only because of that, because they could use the same device for different certain implementations of, like, you know, starting fire, or maybe creating a channel for a river, or maybe creating an electric discharge to mine some resources in the area. Who knows?
Or water monitors for slurry.
Yes, that's a different technology. I think that would be used a little bit after that. So after you set up a mining site.
I agree.
Mining site is supposed to be prepared. And all these local people don't matter, actually. They're just human resources. I've been saying before, 200 years and you get another stupid mass that you can use in certain ways and, mine those people. And what we have right now is crypto mining also. And crypto mining is related to, creating money out of, actions of certain individuals and their personal computers, and the power of that computer and the energy that is supported by that. But now everybody knows it's carbon. Also comes the word starts with carbon 14. Somebody says that I never mentioned it. Why I never mentioned it? Because I don't care about it. I care about my research, and I don't do everybody else's research. If you know something about carbon-14, just do your video, send me a link, and I'll do a review about it. It's
That's right. I don't like doing other people's homework for them either, Philip.
It's to Jerry with the name Bomb Fluff. He's, you know.
Who? What do you mean?
Jerry has new name. He's
geez.
Bomb Fluff, and he writes me comments.
I'm not anything. Yeah, I don't want to be antagonistic. Whatever. I don't agree with certain procedures others are doing. Obviously, you just seen. You know, nothing personal. Anybody. I mean,
yeah, Jerry.
Jerry
by the way, I found another person like Jerry.
I don't want to be antagonistic.
He has a group on Facebook. They invite me, and I have still to click on to go to this invitation and find out. But I checked through the group, and I didn't see any burned, melted rock. Always see block, bricks, mountains, or mining waste, in other words, and nothing else. And those people are certainly believing in what they see, because seeing is believing, right?
Science, natural science is ruling out. Natural science is not to say, to extrapolate and zoom out 100,000 foot view. To say something is science, trust the science, is literally oxymoronic. Science is nothing but observation and nothing but ruling out. You cannot, in my opinion, logically say, trust the science, because it's nothing but observation and a series of experiments that rule out. So you can never say anything definitive. Empirical, you know, I guess is different. Empirical evidence, you know, when you're getting into like the actual causal and corollary reason behind things. The fact that certain people who are in the media or whatever now say, promote the whole science narrative as they do.
Yeah, and we go to my final point before I not forget. And sorry for disturbing you one more time.
You're good. Don't interrupt me again, bro.
My attention was brought up by some festival called Burning Man. It is an annual festival. It's located in right now on the Black Rock Lake.
You didn't brief me on this one.
You can Google it.
I know.
Okay.
I know. I'm aware of it, dude.
You have you been there?
I've not been there. I probably would never. Maybe back in the day, but now, you know, with my, I'm not down with that stuff at all. You know, I'm not against it. Do whatever you want to do. Do you? I'm gonna do me and probably.
I'm not against anything. I'm against parasites and their control. So
not even against them.
It's located. It's located, as what I believe, in an X mine inside, because it has all the ground is, I would say, alkaline mixture, which is completely dry like a desert, and all this dust, alkaline dust, is like dust storming every time they, you know, set up a camp there. A huge city, 75,000 people was there in 2019, 75,000, and it's located Black Rock
Riverside, man, right here. Black Rock.
If you go to who is going there, actually, people from opinion leaders from social media, people from big corporations like IBM, Microsoft, and so on, Amazon, Google.
Oh, techies.
Yeah, techies, and they have their own settlements there, and they don't let anybody in. By the way,
let them have fun.
Yeah,
great.
They have certain agenda there, and have this like a team building each year. They be proceeding it, but anyways, I'm not trying to say anything about it. And what I can say is actually Burning Man. That's my daughter.
Hello, Philip's daughter, sweetheart.
Yeah. Anyway, what I was trying to say is they are Burning Man each time they do it. At the end of the 9th day of festival, they burn a large sculpture of a person. Sometimes it's a lady, sometimes it's a non-sex object looking like a human. But each time it's a big fire, you know, there, and they like sitting there and watching. It's a huge occasion, and then they all wait till it happens. It's like a new year for them. But my point is that BlackRock itself is the key for this place, because it was originally established in San Francisco. It was established right across the place where Bohemian Grove was first was located, and they probably did it for the new generation of new elites, new digital elites, those who were going to be fact checking, those who are going to be implementing their brainwashed knowledge into the real life, those who are going to be operating and shutting down groups, pages, channels for talking truth.
Oh, whoa, hey, allegedly.
Not allegedly, but this is the idea of creating new elites and collecting them at one place, right? Brainwashing them like you can live in the desert for 9 days, don't pay a single dollar, be very friendly, help everybody.
No cows.
Nothing, no money. And you pay like $10,000 to get there and to spend all this week, maybe even more. Some people spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some people collect in camps where they donate to these camps. And some people, and all this structure exists on donations of people outside of that festival, and they have part-time job.
It's a personal, it's a self-initiation, right? Effectively, in that level.
I don't know, but they have a corporation that is handling all this stuff, and they have full-time job workers which are located in San Francisco, and they are collecting all this information, who's going to go to the next festival, they're connecting all those money and selling tickets and organizing clearing of the area after they're done. So they're just like a huge office, get not that much money, but still it's enough to be a person who lives in San Francisco. San Francisco is very expensive, by the way. So,
San Francisco used to be called Yerba Bueno.
San Francisco is previously a Russian colony, which was called Fort Ross. So just so you know, and I believe
what?
Yeah.
From what I see and have researched before San Francisco, it was on the books Yerba Bueno. You need to come to the table with some backup on that, Phil. That's gravy. But maybe we'll do another video about it.
San Francisco has a lot. I've been to San Francisco. San Francisco has a lot of hints of its previous history, but right now it's turned to a shithole filled with rich people, but I don't want to talk about it. What I want to say is that BlackRock Corporation is the hugest corporation on Earth. It owns all the money of the Rothschild family. It's operating their money. It operates about $8.2 trillion last year, and it has a bunch of what is that?
This is my great grandmother's book. And look
at BlackRock.
Hello.
Okay.
You see that last name?
So those people wouldn't be giving their money to some other uncontrollable agents, and wouldn't be giving their money to BlackRock Corporation, wouldn't be establishing this corporation, wouldn't be spending their time in that corporation. So that corporation is huge, and this connection to BlackRock and the society that they want to build since the 70s. I'm right now working on 1971 part 2, and I'm going to mention that, and how it's all connected to Roman Club and all the stuff that was started in 71, including coronavirus, including that. Phoenicians is a BS historical narrative, which we can talk about later on some certain object with the people who can actually debate on that.
Share screen.
You can share?
I mean, this is from my book from the 30s or earlier, American history.
Yeah.
I mean, Philip, I understand what you're saying, that it's faux and it's Phoenician, but when a critic hears that, they're gonna just say they're gonna blow you off, because I'm not lending credence or anything, but like these are in the books, dude. Like books that are
What
like
exactly? What exactly are you disagreeing with?
I'm not disagreeing with anything. I'm just saying that they say
What
that
I'm
those are the
saying
first sea
wrong.
traders.
What I'm saying wrong?
You just blow them off. I think it's hilarious.
No,
Like,
I didn't blow them off. They existed, and they
Okay,
have it.
so explain what you're saying.
One of the first alphabets, which
Yeah,
is
I'm not
close
laying
to
any
Greek
blame.
one.
I'm not laying blame or being antagonistic. I'm just saying that when I look at the history, they
This
always
is-
seem to track back to these dudes. That's all I'm saying.
They just put him in the evil side, just to be
Just like
blamed,
everything.
just like Russians, just
I
like
get it.
Jewish, just like Americans
Catholic.
today. You can call them, Jesuit mafia. You can call them Malta Order. You can call them Venetians. You can call them whatever.
Well,
Because
hold up.
a bunch of different agents.
We can research, and if they were of a certain religion, we can make certain conclusions, not make judgments. And if I believe of what history says that they were of the old Canaanite religion, the practices are questionable. And if that's the basis of foundation for all history, I'm not laying blame, being accusatory, being antagonistic. I'm saying the information that they provide us, this is logical thought progression, Philip. And you got to, whether it's fit for fit, I'm not saying they're bad, whatever. I'm literally not. The kind of, the application of that type of religion and practice, I vehemently disagree with, okay? I'm not saying bad or good. There is always a yin and a yang, and we're looking at it from outside of the box in.
Yeah.
When I do my research, it always tracks back to that. And Phoenician red is Tyrian purple. And we should do a episode on, what I think about Hannibal, because it all tracks back to the Canaanite old school, sands of time religion. I'm not saying good or bad. I'm not saying they're bad, I'm good, I'm right, they're wrong. I am just researching and putting out what I see in the interweb and in my books, bro. It's all it is to me is fascinating, and I research it with popcorn, so to speak, because I'm, it's so fast, and I appreciate the ability to be able to, to wrap it up, talk back and forth with you about it with an open mind, and we joke, and so people know, the commenters or Philip and I are good friends. We talk, and we don't even record, okay? Like you just seen, his daughter came on the screen. I consider Philip a good friend of mine. If he interrupts me or I interrupt him, neither one of us could give a shit. So that said, neither should you. Take the data that you received and the stuff that we're throwing back and forth, and leave everything else that you disagree with. Or if you think that in a certain instance, I interrupted him or he interrupted me, we don't, like I said, we don't care. We're fascinated by this research, and we hope that you are. And if you're not, keep it moving. Professionally, we're trying to do some work here in our spare time.
I would say I don't mind interrupting on the topic. I don't mind, switching from topic to topic. So if it's related to topic, I don't mind interruption. But anyways, purple people, all this stuff related to purple and the color that the royals use and they use in Vatican and so on, it doesn't connect to Phoenicians at all. Purple is their secret color, is related to blue bloods, and it's actually how purple looks on the sun. It looks blue, and look at your veins also looking light blue. They have like a dark blue because they have it like as what they say, they have it with the copper inside, particles of copper, and probably they use it because they drink from copper. I also use this copper, some stuff from copper right now, because I think it brings more health and probably exceeds the lifetime.
Like eating from a silver spoon, bacteria.
Yeah, they just using copper. They were miners. They knew what copper is. They knew all these properties of disinfection, because it's very in need when somebody's dying around and you're just drinking from the copper and don't care about it, right? So my point is that all this horrors, burning, drilling, all this burning, man, is just another agenda, because black rock is equals to devil's rock, because black in, let me show it to you.
I wonder if it's related to Vulcan and the Greek or the Roman god of metallurgy and forging. I wonder if that's I wonder if they're actually idolizing Vulcan, the old
look at this
Greek god.
Look at this.
Am I sharing?
Brand color. It's just
What you got, bro?
060606.
Oh
It's
boy.
totally black. So black is bis rock. So I mean, this is bis rock.
Oh, for Black Rock. I can't
Yeah.
see. Philip, you got the okay.
So black is the code 66060606. So it's encoded, and knowing that everybody on the Burning Man is somehow related to digital technologies or have social media accounts, Instagrams, most of the people there, most of the people somehow, maybe big bloggers, they're journalists go there, TV workers go there, so CNN workers go there, who knows, actually. Knowing all that and all these
Have a
BlackRock
blast.
connections is very nice information to talk about in 1971 video. I think we have discussed everything I wanted to say, and those connections to Crown and actual thing that they were doing in the Cornwall and Carly Bay, which was they settled first. Everybody came to Carly Bay, then they went to Cornwall, where Prince of Wales, so-called Charles, in French is Charles, in Spanish is Karol, in Czech it's Karol. Karol in Russian. So Charles is Prince of Wales, and the leading front man of Great Reset, the one who is along with Klaus Schwab, is a big front man of that Great Reset. Also, if you haven't watched my video about the Great Reset, check it out. Dustin quoted it today.
There you go. Thank you for having me on, Philip. Take care, brother. Have a great day. We'll chat again soon.
Yeah, hope so. Hope everybody liked it. I'm sorry it's in the morning, but Dustin is okay to wake up when no cock-a-doodle-doo has ever son or peacock woke up, but Dustin is already.
Hey, let's end it with a good quote. Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Yeah, exactly. See you guys later.
Right.
Bye.